Good morning. For those of you that don't know me quite well, my name is Louis, and I usually sit in the back there. But today, I will be presenting through YouTube my part of the presentation that my teammates have began and will continue to present after this video. So in order to get started, I'm going to share my screen with you guys here in just a second, and you will begin to see the presentation. So the first thing I would like to discuss with you guys would be the practice of scarification. Now, scarification is a practice of placing designs through scar tissue on various parts of the human body. As we can see in some of the pictures, it could be done either on the face, throughout the back, and it could be both positive or negative indentations on the face, meaning they could either be protruding or they can be recessed into the skin. Now, another big element of this practice is it could be done for a variety of reasons. It could either be done to present accomplishments or a form of self-identity, or for even beauty practices. Some cultures, including the Maori people in New Zealand, found face markings to be quite an attractive feature, especially in men that did combat or other masculine features. Now, this was done about 2,000 years before present, and the research was done by an anthropologist, female anthropologist named Gaina, as you see here on my in-text citations. Now, scarification can take a wide variety of forms, from, like I previously mentioned, facial and facial markings to body markings for both accomplishment and self-identity purposes. Now, continuing on this ancient body ornamentation on modification presentation, we're going to go to the very next one here, which we can see is teeth filling and filing. Now, teeth filing and filling are obviously two very different things. Teeth filing means they will literally take a tool and file down teeth, as we can see here in this Viking example, or filling, which we can see in these preserved Mayan artifacts, where we can see various teeth are filled with various gems in order to designate a class status. Now, as we can see, it has been practiced in a wide range of cultures and religions, from the Mayan in the New World or the Americas to the Vikings in the Atlantic and obviously North Atlantic. So the first one we're going to discuss here is going to be the Mayan example. Now, the Mayan example of teeth filling was done as a class or status marker for the upper classes. And the example is obviously about 3,400 years before present. This research was done by an anthropologist, Smith, as we can see in the markings here. The next one would be a Viking example. Now, the Viking example is a little different. The teeth are actually marked with a clear pattern, not as a sign of tool use. They're very detailed, very precise in the way they were trying to mark the teeth, meaning that the teeth did not happen as a sign of wear. The markings we are seeing here are not an example of teeth wearing down through normal use of teeth or through using tools, with the teeth themselves, but actually they were done as a sign of accomplishment. Certain battles or certain raids were denoted within the teeth to show a link between the accomplishments and actual physical attributes within their face. The last example I will be presenting myself here would be skull binding. Now, skull binding has a very similar relation to teeth filing and filling in the sense that it has also been practiced in a wide range of forms and throughout a variety of time. But the first and only example I'm going to be presenting, because it's quite remarkable, is going to be the Neanderthal remains that were found in the Shenidar caves in Iraq. This present example dates back to about 47,000 years before present, and it's actually Neanderthal remains, which is unique in themselves. Some of the body modifications we are seeing here, relatively speaking, are quite new. But skull binding, this example of skull binding actually goes back quite a bit further than the other examples. The last item that I wanted to show for ancient body ornamentation and modification was obviously the skull binding, because like I said, the Neanderthal remains are actually quite a bit older than the other examples that we have presented here. So that's pretty much my part that I'm going to be presenting. Obviously, ancient body ornamentation and modification has taken a lot of various examples as the ones that my teammates have presented and I have presented, and the ones that will be presented after me. But additionally, the last thing I wanted to bring up was that the practice of modifying one's body is a sign of identity, as well as forethought and planning that it takes to accomplish this. But most importantly, it is a sign of the human condition, and some of the body modifications that are done on soft tissue have not been well preserved. So our examples can be a little bit more contemporary. But the last one I presented was skull binding. Now, skull binding was quite interesting for me, simply for the reason that it dates back a bit further. And the reason we can see that is there's different types of fossils, and bone is able to better fossilize and preserve, whereas some of the soft tissue, where body modification was practiced as well, is not able to preserve as further in time as bones were. The soft tissue throughout the body, as well as facial markings and any ornamentation throughout the facial or body parts, piercings, are not able to preserve as well. So thank you very much. I will now turn over the presentation back again to my teammates, and this broadcast, which has been live, will now be submitted to YouTube so we can see it at a later time. Thank you.